Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Wednesday. This is NFC Now, show number 21. I'm Julian Virgin. That is David Oblas. Mr. David, how you living today, man?
Doing well. How you doing? We changed
Maintaining.
from
Let me
Monday
just
to
go ahead and start the
Wednesday.
pod off by letting the people know that Jenna Lee made an incredible dinner tonight. She made lamb chops, green beans, some like carrots and rice. It was incredible. We just ate it. That's why we're getting on this pod just a little bit late. So my stomach is very happy. I had a little ginger ale on top of it. So I'm feeling great as we get into show number 21. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to add some of the videos that Jenna Lee made for us right now at the battery. I am getting 2 out of 2 right now. We're too large. So I'm going to keep trying to upload more for our millions of viewers out there for the March 10th fight coming up.
I think that the people would like to see the videos because I've seen them just behind the scenes. They're really exciting. I thought the shots that she got at the battery, at Sports and Social at the battery were amazing. Some of my favorite shots were like just the lead up into like my man Seth Hosser, the lead up into like Mike Wilson. It just with the lights, it just really made it. It's real. It's real. It's coming, man. March 10th, we got ourselves a monumental event for the NFC.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a long time working. Like I've talked about before, it's been 6, 7 years since they've opened. I've been bugging them. I think I made one long emotional post on Facebook of, if you keep kicking a door and sooner or later it's going to fall down. And we finally got it. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's 2 weeks away right now, a little over 2.5 weeks, I guess.
Are we still good on all the fights? No fights have fallen through just yet?
Yeah, nothing's fallen through just yet. I think last time I checked, we're at 17 fights, give or take, 17, 16. No, it's fallen through, kind of waiting. I always want to make bets out there, let people bet what's the fight's going to fall through and what's the excuse. But then I'd look like a kind of jerk if I did that.
I
But
mean,
it'd be
but you've been
interesting.
doing this for 20 plus years. Like you've seen everything essentially.
Yeah. I think we have seen everything, and a lot of times the bad thing is I like to lie on social media and not tell everyone the truth out there because I don't want to throw guys under the bus with the lame ass excuses we do here. You've got behind the scenes now these days, and you see the real excuses. But guys are going to fight for us multiple times, or gyms are going to fight for us multiple times. So, we try to be as nice as we can many times.
I definitely hope that everybody's able to stay on this card, especially being that this is like a bigger card. So I do feel like the excuses are going to be a little bit more minimal coming up, being that this is like a really large platform going down Friday, March 10th. You can get your tickets on nfcfighting.com. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is NFC Now, show number 21. We got some amazing guests today ahead of NFC JJ coming up this Saturday, February 25th. We got our guy Alex Jutis, who will be competing against DJ Wegesin. We had DJ on last week, but this week we'll have on Alex. He's going to be competing this weekend. Our guy Clay Bennett will be running down the Jiu-Jitsu show that will be taking place this Saturday, as well as NFC, not NFC, Georgia MMA Hall of Famer. Am I saying this correctly? Richard Cox.
Yeah, I think he was a Hall of Famer from many, many years ago. I guess he still is a Hall of Famer, but it hasn't been recent years. It was years ago we put him in. Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, I'm about to say, like, when you're in, you're in. Is it like something
When
like
you're
you're
in,
in
you're
and
in.
then you maybe get out? Like, did you not? You got to pay some
No,
more
it
dues?
just wasn't in your generation here, I guess. It was many years ago. I don't remember what year we put him in. But yeah, I think someone, let's see what they said. Lamb chops taste like squirrel ankles.
Not Jenna Lee's lamb chops.
And then
So, I mean, look, them lamb chops I just had was off the chain. Is the cage inside or outside? You got to
it
answer
is
that one first.
inside, thank God. There's no more outside fights for the NFC for a very long time. What's his name? The Pink Pony owner did message me the other day. When's the next fight in the Pink Pony? I haven't replied to him. I know he doesn't listen to us because hopefully there is no ever fight again at the Pink Pony. I say that now and then I'll probably go back there, but outside fights scare the hell out of me. I don't want to do outside fights anymore.
There's too many variables, huh?
And when you plan this stuff 3 months out, 2 months out, whatever it is, and you make a guarantee the fighters, the fans, everyone else, and then something ends up screwed up, I feel bad for everyone when that happens. So there's just really no good way to do an outside fight and not risk it for so many people involved out there.
Indeed. Talking about cages, I know you're going to be renting out Mitchell Chimali's cage from that night. We saw the cage. I was inside the cage this Saturday. I like the size of the cage. I think this is going to be. I think this is going to make for just action. You know what I'm saying? I like the smaller cage. I'm not even mad at it.
Yeah, I think from 7 to 7:30 till we have Clay Bennett on. A lot of it is so people know Julian was the announcer for Combat Night, Mitchell's show in Tallahassee this past weekend. First time working another show except for NFC as far as MMA, right? You've done some boxing
working
shows.
another MMA show. I've done some boxing matches, but like this is my first time doing an MMA show.
Yeah, and first time outside of Georgia. So we've had Mitchell, and you say his last name?
Chimali.
We've had Mitchell Chimali on the pod before. I love the guy. Super good guy, super good promoter. Richard Cox, super good matchmaker. We've never gone head to head with him. We communicate with all the time. But I've been to one of his shows. I wanted to see your thoughts from as an announcer and your thoughts of the cage. So people that don't know, at Battery, my 24-foot hexagon will not fit in. So we're using Mitchell with Combat Nights, their 18-foot cage. What did you think of it?
I like the cage size. I first of all, the venue was really dope. Shout out to the Moon in Tallahassee. The venue was cool. It was like it was a nice venue. It kind of reminded me of Tannery Row in the sense that it kind of had those like levels of seating. You know, as you went further back, the levels got a little higher. So they had that. The sound was great. The lights were amazing. All that stuff really makes a difference. Like when we called people into the cage, like from the blue corner, it would be blue lights. And we called them the red corner, it was red lights. And I know they do that at Tannery. I mean, I know they do that at the district, but like little things like that, it just kind of adds to it. So they do their shows a little differently. A lot of times they have like a ton of fights. You said we have 18 fights for this upcoming?
It's like 16, 17, 18, 16. Somewhere in there. As you talk, I'm going to take a look and confirm.
So he had 18 on this one. And he said there's some times where we'll do like 30 fights in a night. That's a lot. But he's basically saying, like, I run a quick show. So as soon as the person's walking out, I'm already calling the next people in. Like Mitchell Chimali, he takes pictures with every fighter.
Yeah.
Like he's in after every fight, the winning fighter, he's going to go in the cage and go take a picture. Like the fighter can't leave without taking a picture with Mitch.
Yeah. And he doesn't leave cage side. Like he stands there cage side the whole time and runs their IG nonstop, just taking photos and posting it right away.
Nonstop. Like I was like shocked. I was like, damn, like he was really dedicated to making sure that the IG and like the shots was right. And just like, you know, he was on it. He was on it the whole time. One thing that I liked with the amateur fights and and certain fights, you know, like the first couple fights of the night, right? For us, if I'm just taking it for NFC, the fights at the beginning of the card, he was like, look, call him in, and we're not going to do like the ring announcement. Like me calling him in is the announcement. So it would be like, all right, we got David Oblas. He stands 6'2", weighing 165 pounds, fighting out of Alpharetta, Georgia, representing X3 Sports. Dave, Discount Dana, Oblas. Boom, walk in from the blue corner. Do the same for the red corner. When they would walk in, I would already be out of the cage, right? And then like when the ref would get them both together, like kind of have that little like that talk with the fighters right before the fight starts, I'll be outside of the cage like Dave, Discount Dana, Oblas versus Julian Virgin. Y'all make some noise. Everybody make some noise, and then they boom, ring the bell and they fight. And I like that for like those early cards. Like when it's a big fight, with all due respect to everybody that's fighting. When it's a bigger fight, then we'll do the in ring where I'm in their face. I was like, I kind of like that. I like that. It seemed. Well, how did it seem, man?
You get more attention to the later guys that deserve it, and the quicker ones you kind of do fast forward through the show.
And I'm kind of jaded. Like even after I say it out of my mouth, I'm kind of jaded because I know that all fighters, that might be their only fight. And so they want that opportunity for somebody to like, you know, yell their name out right in front of them, Bruce Belfort style. For the sake of time. And I thought that was interesting. I thought they're I thought they're I don't even want to say they're DJ because he was a cool dude. He wasn't doing anything too spectacular though. It was just his selections were just like fight night worthy. Like, you know, it was like, okay, like it kept that energy hype instead of it just kept the energy hype. Shout out to the DJ. His name was Lykeon. Shout out to Lykeon. He was cool. We worked together. I thought the NFC fights were better. I didn't think the fights were incredible. I didn't see like a incredible fight, but again, I wasn't aware of all the fighters. Yeah, no, the show
was there a huge buzz for any of the guys? Like, I know it's close to sold out, but any of the guys single out, bring a huge crowd or anything like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. There were certain guys from like Tallahassee. There were certain guys from Duval. You know, there was other people from like Orlando, and like certain people bought certain crowds, and there was a different energy. You had that same energy that you would have at an NFC fight when somebody has a lot of different fans.
The difference is you didn't know any of the fighters or any of the
difference is I just wasn't aware of any of the fighters. I haven't seen them compete before. So I was trying to like figure that out while also giving everybody the same amount of love and attention. I thought their production was really, really tight. Not Mitch Tremally, Ramsey White.
Yeah.
He was also their commentator, but they had like a switcher. And they were basically doing what my man Noah does. So they had the cameras, and like he was basically running a whole production. His girl was sitting there with the switcher, and they were like switching from camera to camera. They always had somebody following the fighter in on the walk-in. I think that's important. It was on the big screen. It just adds to the production. The lights were great. The production was really, really nice.
So you're calling a guy into the cage basically while the others are still in the cage, or right when they step out, like after
when they
step photo.
I try to just pay them that respect. To right when they step out. But Mitchell was like, "Yo, come on, let's go." I would try to wait till Mitchell got through taking his picture. You know what I'm saying? With homie, but he's like, "No, you can go right now." I was like, "All right, cool." You know, but I just like to pay people like that. Just clear out the room, clear out the cage, have it clean, and then I call them in. Especially if I'm not. You know, he's got the in and out bumping into each other in the hallway. They almost have a fight before they get in the fight. Yeah. And I get it for time because look, some of these shows are like really, really long. Yeah. Some of these shows are long, man. 18 fights. You don't know if they're all gonna go to decisions. Then sometimes you're gonna have an intermission. Like that's a lengthy show, not only just for the fans, but for your staff. Like for the fighters that are there. Like I could understand why people leave before a main event fight. It's just like, yo, like the fight's been going on so long. So I understand this. For the sake of time, let's keep this thing moving.
Yeah. And we've thought about doing exactly similar. We're actually thinking about doing it for the battery. So it is interesting that you went there, and very helpful you went there and want to get your input. So we've thought about doing it that, and maybe the other times we have 15 fights or more in a night, doing fast forward, you know, for the first 6 or 7 fights. Or if we start at 7 o'clock, going fast forward till 9 p.m. And then at 9 p.m. we do the longer intros, however many fights that might be, and take a break at 9 p.m. or something like that. So we have discussed doing that, and maybe we'll only have 12 or 13 fights doing the intro on everybody. But exactly like you said, I try to pay respects to every fighter because it might be their first and only time. It might be their parents' first and only time. And if we fast forward through their fight, exactly like you said, we didn't give them the respect that they might deserve because we're trying to shove as many fights in one night as possible. It goes both ways.
It does go both ways. And like it was no introduction, and then it was like no post-fight interview too. Now I could see getting rid of the post-fight. And you know, to be fair, I still gave like if I wasn't doing the in-ring, I still gave them before they walked out, they heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like you heard the buzz, and then like when the other guy got in and like everybody else kind of got out, like the camera people got out, that's when I would be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all go ahead and make some noise for David Oblas versus Julian Vert. And everybody would make that big pop real quick. They start clapping, and then ding, 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 let's fight.
Did you ask him how you compare to the other ring announcer he has?
Nah, I don't. Man, Dave,
you don't care.
I don't like to play the comparison game. You know, I know I come with a different swag. I know I'm different. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's all preference. They're probably used to their guy. I made some mistakes. It's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I made some mistakes, but I know I dominated. You know, I know I did what I do, and I know I connected with other people. And like, I just hope that I represented their brand in front of their audience up to their standards. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't know about the other dude. I'm not trying to take the other dude's place. They know, I hope they know that if somebody gets caught slipping, they can just give me a call and we can discuss whether or not we'll come back. But no, I didn't ask. I mean, what are your thoughts about the other
I
person?
told Mitchell, fire the other guy. He's done. I said, once you try Dr. J once, the other guy's he's out. So yeah, I already made that connection. Except for my fight weekends, except for NFC week.
Shout out. You know,
yeah, he said you did well. He said he was really impressed. He said, like at the beginning, I think you had a voice at the beginning. I think he said, like, oh God, this might be a long night. And then he's like, Julian got into it, like right at the beginning. There was not many fans in there. He didn't know your style. And then we were texting later in the night. He's like, dude, this guy's good. So he was definitely impressed, and we were hitting each other up. So,
yeah, look, it always takes me time to get warm. You know, like I get nervous too. I'm in a different crowd. I'm in a different place. You know, I come in early. I say what's up to everybody. Have everybody know my name. Like it was crazy when I first like introduced myself to the crowd. Like the first thing that I said, like they call it the Combatagon. Not the Combatagon. And like I almost said like, yo, the NFC cage. And I like stopped and I paused and I had to like look at my thing. And it was kind of like it was an awkward pause, but I had to catch it real quick. And so like it took me a minute to get warm. But once I got warm and got comfortable and started finding people to make eye contact with in the crowd, it was just like anything else. Yeah, I made a mistake. I said like I said your winner by Kimura choke by accident. And you know, it was like it kind of was like a cringy moment, but it's only if you know, you know. But I just kept it going. I had fun with the crowd. And then by the end, when I walked out, when generally Sarai and I walked out, everybody was like, yo, love. Like we appreciated you. It's all love. You know, got a lot of love from people in the crowd. And like
what did you think of the cage size? So ours is 24 feet, his is 18 feet. A lot smaller. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I liked it. I like after a while, it didn't really make a difference because like you just kind of got used to it. But no, I like it. There's really no room to. It's like it's action. There's really not a lot of room to like go. I like it. I think it's gonna be a really interesting fact. I don't even know. I don't even want to call it a factor because I think the more people think about it, the more they make it a factor than what it is. I mean, it's a fist fight. You're gonna connect anyway.
We've had a lot of guys from Georgia fight for Mitchell in Combat Night over the years, and we've never heard positive feedback on the cage. We've never heard negative. Like, no one's ever mentioned to us at all. I did put in the itinerary for the March 10th fighters. We're using a smaller cage so they can all prepare if they do even prepare for that. I don't know.
I don't really think it's going to be a big difference. I truly don't. I don't think. I think when people come to fight, they're going to come to fight. It's a big enough room in order to get your fight on. So, like now looking at that cage, the NFC cage might be a little big for what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? It might just be like but again, you use your cage for different things. You're renting it out. You're doing different things with it. So
Cobra Kai paid me $1 million to rent that thing out. So yeah, it's world famous now. People fighting the Cobra Kai NFC cage.
That's what I'm saying. You know, we getting different looks and different sponsors. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is NFC show number 21. I'm Julian Virgin. That is David Oblas. My final thing I will say about Combat Night, not even just Combat Night, but the Florida Athletic Commission. It was a private commission that sanctioned the amateur fights. Mm-hmm. And then when the pro fights started, that's when the Florida State Commission came in. And I thought that was very interesting with like the different jurisdictions. Could you speak on that at all?
Yeah, so I know the show I went to with him at Mitchell, I think it was down wherever we're in Fort Lauderdale. It was all an amateur show, so he had no Florida Athletic Commission there, just a sanctioned body. And it was crazy because I think I told you in advance, he had no tables cage side for them. Like all his announcers, commentary, his Kimberly Sargent, his Julian Virgins, they were all on a separate table away from the cage. And then all he had cage side was just 3 judges and stools, no table for paperwork or anything for them, just stools. And then they went over and grabbed the scorecards from them. I did see you guys did have tables this past weekend. He had to put that in for the Florida Commission. In South Carolina, I could use a sanctioned body. In Georgia, whenever you do fights, you have to use the Georgia Athletic Commission. If I do an all amateur show, it's still with the Georgia Commission. The only way I can get away without them is if I do an all amateur kickboxing show, which I don't do. Some other people don't, which I don't do. Another promoter does all amateur kickboxing and just sanctions through a different body. We put pros on our card, so I always use them. In Alabama, we had to use the Alabama Athletic Commission. So it's just a different vibe. It costs us a lot more money, but it's using their staff. There's really no right or wrong way to do it at all.
I thought that was interesting because, when I come early, I try to get everybody's name, who's the cage side physician, who are our judges there. And, they were like, look, we're private. You don't even have to say our name. Just do it. And I was like, all right, cool. Don't say no more. But we did take that intermission. And then we went to the professional fights, and that was like the difference. That's when I started doing things in the cage.
Yeah.
And so
you're sitting next to a James Corbett, a buddy of mine from the last 100 years, old guy. I saw a photo of you, and you're sitting next to you. I was going to text you to say to him what's up or something like that, but he's been around for 100 years. I don't know if you talked to him at all.
I did. It was him and it was James Corbett.
James Corbett.
Yeah, we had we sat cage side the whole time, especially for the amateur fights, and there was a lot of amateur fights. And we just sat there and talked. He was judging. And the thing is, when I'm cage side, I talk a lot. It's crazy. In general, I talk a lot. But when I'm cage side, I talk a lot. I'm talking about the fight. And I guess it's kind of rude for me to be talking to the judge about the fight as I'm watching the fight, because maybe I might be influencing what he's doing. And sometimes he's like, yo, give me 1 second. But it's not like I kind of need just a fight partner, a fight companion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's understandable, especially if you're like me and you, white belts that really don't even know what the hell we're looking at. It always is interesting to talk to someone and see what the hell is going on.
Exactly, and ask questions and just trying to get a little better understanding about what we're looking at. So overall, it was an amazing experience. I appreciate you for just speaking my name in rooms that I'm not in, about opportunities, man. It was, when I think back on things like that, I'm super grateful, because that just gives me an opportunity to continue to sharpen my blade in different places. And again, I know I was able to make connections with the fans that were out there, and hopefully I made a good connection with Richard Cox and Mitchell Tremali and Ramsey White. I felt good just being able to go out of town, be paid for my services, to do that in a different space, and I felt good about it. And so what?
I just said sweet.
Yeah, it was a dope opportunity. And then we went from Tallahassee. We drove all the way to Daytona Beach for the Daytona 500. Sarai, Jenna-Lee, and I, and got into the Daytona 500 for free. It was an amazing time. Saw how many fans were there. I don't know if there's any. I know this is NFC Now Fight podcast, but we're huge NASCAR fans around our way.
And I'm going to say it. And probably other people think you don't look like the average NASCAR fan.
I know
it is what it is, which is good. It is.
I know I don't. And honestly, if it wasn't for MMA and the NFC, I might be doing this for NASCAR. And don't be surprised if you see me doing this for NASCAR, because that's how much I love NASCAR and we love NASCAR. And I know I don't fit the typical demographic, but you'd be surprised, because when we was at Daytona, man, we were sitting next to this Indian family. And we were locked in, and there's nothing but white folk, but there's black folk. And it's just dope. And cause we all have something that we love in common, which is NASCAR. And when people see that, they want to meet you where you are. And it don't really matter about all this other stuff. Yeah, you're going to have some outliers, some people that just doing the most, that want to wave their Confederate. That's cool. You do what you do over there. But for the majority, everybody show love. And it's like a big cookout, and it's just an amazing time, man. The Daytona 500 was incredible. We left Daytona. We went to Jacksonville, spent the night there, went to Jacksonville Beach for a little bit, walked around. Sarai got to play in some sand. We came back a little bit late on Monday, so that's why we weren't able to do the pod on Monday. Had some things going on yesterday, but we're right here for NFC Now, show number 21. That was my weekend in a nutshell.
Yeah, come on. Southside Steve. You didn't know the redneck. I can't throw Southside Steve redneck terms out of you for NASCAR if you've never known Southside Steve.
Oh, no. I never listened to Southside. I know who
Yeah.
Southside Steve is, but I never listened to him, so I don't pick up on any references. That's why you caught me like, what?
And I think this is to you, not to me. So,
Oh, no, that's to everybody.
yeah.
That's to everybody. That's to you too, Dave.
Okay, thank you for
without
wishing me
without
happy
without
Black
black
History Month.
people, the NFC wouldn't be the same. So you know what I'm saying? Happy
All
Black
right,
History Month to everybody out there. Shout out to you, Ann Blends, for showing love. You turning red over there, Dave. You good?
I'm gonna wish him a happy Hanukkah in December or November, whenever it is this year.
You did. Look, we
Yeah.
said happy Hanukkah to everybody. We said happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. We all inclusive here on NFC now, right?
Speaking of all inclusive, let's bring on Cat Daddy Clay Bennett competing this weekend off a Euros win and head matchmaker for NFC that can tell us about the card, who to look for, and I also want to hit him up about betting on Jake Paul this week and what the hell the bets mean. So, hello, Cat Daddy.
Hello, Mr. Oblis. I hope you all have a wonderful Black History Month.
Thank you.
Don't take these comments personal.
Same to you.
We know.
Most definitely, ladies and gentlemen. Clay Bennett joining us ahead of NFC JJ. Is this show number 20?
It's number 12. We're only at 12 for jiu-jitsu.
We've lost track. We've done so many.
Word. Well, we have a big show coming up on Saturday. We got our guy Clay Cat Daddy Bennett. Where does the lobster come from?
What lobster?
The lobster in your sub bio.
I don't see one.
It says Cat Daddy, and then under it says lobster in your bio.
Oh, God, we can't talk about that. That's personal.
Where it's personal, but it's on our public forum here on
It's a dog whistle.
Now, what is that behind you too?
I don't see anything behind
me. you put up the screen with the Lobster Room logo.
I might be involved in a secret organization known as the Lobster Group.
Word.
Which is only for black belts. I tried to get in there as a white belt. I was denied 3 applications 3 years in a row. Or is it only brown belts? Black belts or browns?
We have 7 lobsters, and they're all black belts. And all of them except for one have won a major jiu-jitsu title at some point in their career. So you got a little bit to do.
I am the top selling white belt in the state of Georgia and undefeated.
Look, I campaign for you harder than anybody, but we come back with a 6-1 vote on no.
Understandable.
We got big fights coming up on Saturday. Can we go through the card?
We can. Be honest, I can't speak on every single one of them because I cheated and got a little help this card. Nate Mann put together our first matchup. Nate Mann's probably the biggest advocate for women's jiu-jitsu that I can think of. The guy
Nate
always
Mann's
wants more girls on the
biggest.
card. He always wants to referee the girls that are on the card. He is all about female jiu-jitsu. So this first match with Desiree Bennett, no relation, and Brooke Pierce. I don't know much about them. One of them trains at Nate's gym, and I'm not sure about the other young lady, but Nate put that one together for me. So I apologize to these girls. I can't speak much about them.
Desiree Bennett, she trained out of ATT Team Lima.
Yeah, and fights MMA. So she's that. I don't know the other girl, Brooke, like you said, that is
I think Brooke trains at Nate's gym. Then.
Yeah.
Number 2 on the card, we're doing a quartet tournament for the men and the women. Number 2 will be the first. We've got 5 quartet teams. We're kind of having like a rat tail in the bracket. So Bad Apple MMA versus Megalodon. Both of them are pretty much MMA based schools. So should be pretty exciting matchup there. The winner of that will come out and take on Tribe Jiu-Jitsu, and they'll end up going in match number 8. Match number 3.
Wait. I don't
mean to go too fast.
Sorry. Time out. Why is the winner of that going to fight Tribe Jiu-Jitsu? Why does Tribe Jiu-Jitsu get essentially a bye? Did I hear that correctly?
You are correct. So when you have a 5-person bracket, 2 teams are going to have to go against each other, and the other 3 get buys. I seeded it. Some people may say I'm biased. If they do, I'm willing to put up any amount of money they want that I think Tribe's the number 1 seed. They are the gym I train out of. I said Alliance was probably the number 2 seed, and Travin's team's probably number 3 seed. That's interchangeable, but it doesn't matter. They'll be going against each other. So they're automatically in the semis, and Tribe's automatically in the semis. Bad Apple and Megalodon, they were my 4 and 5 seed, and so they we're putting them against each other. They're going to have to win to get in the semifinals.
Okay, now with that, there's a lot to unpack there. Where do you stand? Do you think that, after somebody has done a roll, do you think they have the momentum, or do you think that the fresher team has the momentum? Where do you stand on that?
My opinion personally, I mean, and it does depend on the role. I mean, if you go against somebody evenly matched with you, and you have a super hard role, it's definitely going to take a toll on you, and you do risk injury. But I prefer having a role. Like if I'm going into a tournament, I don't like having the bye because I like having that warm-up role. It's so hard to warm up for a jiu-jitsu match, especially at some of these venues, because those locker rooms get packed out and everything, and you just can't do the equivalent of, a real jiu-jitsu roll to get your body warmed up, your blood flowing and everything. So I think it's a slight advantage to be able to roll first, but, theoretically having the bye is supposed to be the advantage. Okay.
I'll allow you to continue. So we have, just tell me that matchup one more time that's going to lead into the fight number 8 bye.
That's Bad Apple MMA. You guys should know Joseph Creer.
Yeah. So Bad Apple MMA is Joseph Creer, who is fighting Friday night in the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Yep. Really?
And then his gym is fighting men, but he also has a team of women competing, and his wife is on the women's team. So it's kind of cool and interesting. Joseph Creer is Friday night Bare Knuckle. I don't know if he'll make it Saturday to our event or not. I guess we'll have to find out. And then he's got a men's and a women's team, including his wife, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Joseph
we have Bad Apple versus
black belt
Megalodon.
Jiu-jitsu. During his downtime from MMA, he competes in jiu-jitsu as well.
So you mentioned before, if someone gets injured, I don't know, because I didn't even ask you. If one of these teams gets injured in the first round, has a guy that gets injured, do they only get 3 people in the next round, or are we allowing them a sub for the 4th?
We've had some people change the lineup. Like recently, the Alliance female team lost one of their blue belts, got injured over the weekend. Same thing happened with Travin's male team. I'm letting them replace it, but up to Saturday, they're locked in on Saturday. If one of them gets injured or can't continue, they're going to have to do a shorter person.
Cool. So next matchup.
3 is you versus Kalim Kalista. And we've seen before, you like putting yourself early in the matches, even though you're a black belt, probably, potentially the top black belt on this card, especially after winning Euros last couple weeks ago and winning in Tennessee last weekend. Was it
Memphis?
Memphis.
Very nice town.
But you like putting yourself third. That way, in case shit goes bad on the NFC card, you're out of the dressing room, can help out with anything that goes bad.
Yeah, it helps me oversee everything, and I just don't like sitting around waiting, to be honest with you. And so I'm pulling some strings. I know the guy who runs the show, so I like going ahead and getting out of the way. But the main reason is in case there's some kind of issues with the refereeing or anything else. Plus, I'm going to be coaching the Tribe Jiu-Jitsu team, and Dustin Waters is competing later in the card. I'll be coaching him as well.
And then Kalim Kalista, sorry to interrupt. Kalim Kalista, he fought a couple weeks ago on Fight to Win Atlanta. He actually lost on that card. But I know a lot of us are looking forward to this matchup, because not only did he talk a lot of junk with you online, but also he does run a pretty big school in Alabama coming up for the match. So it should be fun to see how this goes. It is your first opponent on an NFC card that engaged or started a lot of shit talking back and forth with you.
Well, I don't know if you would call his gym a big gym in Alabama. It's actually a shithole in Hinesville, which is down next to Savannah.
I was trying to be nice.
Well, I was just getting the geography right. Alabama and Hinesville, different places.
Word. So shots are fired. There's obviously a little bit of steam behind this battle. Now, did he call you out, and did you accept that, or did you match this fight? How did this work?
So I obviously not the first time I've been called out. I don't like doing the call outs, especially when it's over an argument, because people's like, oh, well, I'll beat you in jiu-jitsu. That means I'm right in the argument. Whoever's better at jiu-jitsu doesn't mean you're right. Or these guys with MMA, if I can beat you in an MMA fight, that means I'm right. That's not how it works in life. But anyways, Caleb was matched up on an MMA card to go against Will Edmondson. that we were going to insert a jiu-jitsu match of that night. And Caleb also had 2 or 3 MMA guys that were supposed to fight on the card. Well, a couple of he is coming from Hinesville, and I apologize to his guys that train in his gym. I've never been there. It could be a shithole. It could not be, but it's not in Alabama. But his guys come up from South Georgia, and evidently they got caught in traffic. But the weigh-ins and Obelisk can speak more to this on how the weigh-ins work. With the Georgia Athletic Commission, they had a 2-hour window to get there. His guys are late. So they missed the weigh-ins, and the commission closed the door on them, so they didn't get to fight on the card. Well, I don't know where the confusion was with him or why he couldn't understand. This wasn't an NFC rule. This was a Georgia Athletic Commission rule. He starts blasting the NFC, saying that, we screwed his guys and, he's never going to compete for us again, blah, 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 blah. And the commission doesn't dictate jiu-jitsu, so he could have still competed on the card, but in some kind of stand of solidarity for his guys being late for weigh-ins, he was going to pull out his match for no reason. So this is probably seems to be one of the most offensive things you can do to a competitor is you put the red X over their poster and say they're pulled out and tell them why. Anytime I've done that, I have pissed the person off and burnt the bridge with them. So he took a lot of offense, and I was harsh on it, saying he's pulling out, because his guys didn't make weight. And it really did upset me because Will Edmondson was a friend of mine. I know he'd been training hard and he'd wanted this match. And so, you're not just hurting hurting the NFC, you're hurting the guy you competed against by pulling out last minute.
So
anyway,
this match coming up on Saturday between you and him is not just like, hey, we're going to see who's the best in jiu-jitsu. Y'all about to settle some things.
Well, he got real offended by what I posted on there, and he jumped in my DMs, and he offered to, he said he's going to spit in my ass in prison. Fuck me.
I saw it. He did say that.
Spineless troll. And I told him, I said, well, there is one way you can get back on the NFC card if you want to, do this. And so he agreed. Again, I'd been drinking that night. I normally try not to engage in that kind of behavior, but I too far deep in it. So, and he's offering to prison fuck me. I mean, I can't turn down a good time. So, we were supposed to do it on the next card. This happened a year ago. He got in, or the next card, he turned down the match. Then the card after that, he had an injury, and I thought, well, maybe he's just going to let it go. It's not a big deal. So I think he approached David and asked to have this match sometime in January. I was already training for Euros, and so I knew I would be in shape still or stick with it. So I was down.
So you just told us a story behind the fight, which is an amazing story, which I'm looking at David like, David, man, like we really could have ran with this story a couple weeks ago to like really build this. I'm going to ask again, why is this the third fight of the night?
I don't like waiting, sitting around too much. And like I say, I got to oversee everything. And so
this is a big fight, though, Clay. You see where I'm coming from when I say this, man. This is a big fight. Like with the way you just expressed it, like this is a big deal.
It's really not. I could go out there and slip and fall and break my neck. He could beat me. Anytime black belts go, I'm not going to disrespect the guy's jiu-jitsu. I've watched his matches, but this isn't supposed to be a close match. I won't say who I think is going to dominate the other one, but this isn't going to be an exciting close match.
Are you the favorite? One wink, one blink, yes. Two blinks, no.
Yes. I think I'm the favorite. I just won a major IBJJF tournament, and he got submitted in 30 seconds at Fight to Win. I think the last thing he won was a new breed tournament in Savannah. The guy, his record isn't indicative of his skill. I've watched his matches on Flow. The matches he does lose, it's close matches, and he's lost to some good guys. So again, he could go out there and beat me. He may, but I like my chances, and I don't think it's going to be a close fight.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Clay Bennett joining us here on NFC Now, show number 21, ahead of NFC JJ, show number 12 this Saturday, February 25th. We're going through the card. We just talked about Clay's match against, what was his name again?
Caleb Kalista.
Caleb Kalista, fight number 3. Can you talk about fight number 4?
All right, so we're going to do a female quartet tournament as well, and I'll go ahead and explain the four. We only had 3 teams. I wanted to get 4 teams, or more than four more. I can only get 3 teams put together. So we're going to emulate the way an IBJJF tournament does it when there's only 3 people in a division. So what'll happen is Team A will fight Team B. The loser of that will fight Team C. Now, when the loser in C fights, the winner of that will go on and fight the winner of the first match. I hope that wasn't too confusing.
I think I put the web together.
So let's say the 3 of us are in a division. You and Obelisk fight, and Obelisk obviously submits you. So you would come on and fight me. You would obviously submit me. So you would get a rematch with Obelisk, and for the finals, and the winner of that match wins the division.
So basically, like, I mean, but what about you? You only get 1 match?
Yeah, it's not the best format, but it's the way they do it. I run into this actually over the weekend. There was only 3 people in one of the divisions I competed in, and they wanted me to fight a guy who I'd already fought. I wanted to fight the other guy, so I intentionally bowed out, and so I could fight the other guy first. Had I lost that next match, I would have been out of the competition, or I'd been the 3rd place person. And but I won, so it was like I didn't lose. I got to go on to the finals to compete against the guy.
Okay. Why'd you back out of the first round? I didn't understand that.
The guy who I had to go against the first round was a super heavyweight, and the other guy in the division was a lightweight. I was wanting to fight the smaller guy first, because probably what would have happened if I'd have fought the bigger guy. If I win, he's going to go beat the lightweight, and I'll have to beat him again. And it's tough beating a guy 2 times in a row. Yeah. So I opted, and I'd rather get the warm-up match against the lighter guy.
And then one big fight on the card I'm looking forward to is Guy Ficker from Atos versus Sam Accord from Integrity. Both those guys have competed for us several times. Tell us what you think about Sam Accord versus Guy Ficker.
Sam's actually trains an affiliate in Carrollton of Tribe. He took a little break, do it from the gi, and went to 10th Planet. But he's come back to training gi. He's actually been coming up to our location in Marietta and to prepare for Guy. Guy last year won adult blue belt worlds, which is a very prestigious. I know it's just blue belt, but those blue belts now they're as good as some of the black belts, especially the Masters division. So it's going to be a tough match for Sam. He's definitely the underdog, but he knows it. And we've been training specifically for Guy Ficker's game. Guy likes to do a lot of Barambolas. So we've been working on Barambola defense. And Sam's got a good game plan. If he can keep it together, he's going to be able to give Guy some trouble.
I have no idea what a Barambola is. We didn't go over that in my white belt 3-month of training.
You called it the dreidel when we were doing
it. And then you have no idea who he is. You've never met him, but our boy NFC guy Addison Graves against Brady Hilton. I think that's a guy from Odyssey, that Nape help match out there. You've never met Addison. You don't even know who he is. So we're kind of – you got any picks in that, Julian? You're going to go with Addison.
I'm rolling with the home team on that one. I'm just gonna put it out there. I normally don't make no picks, but I'm rolling with the home team.
the other guy's not even going to get his name mentioned.
I'll mention Brady Hilton. I think he's gonna kick the shit out of your guy.
Oh, really?
All right, that's cool. Hey, we shall see, man. Hey, we just gotta tune in. Saturday, February 25th. Doors at 4, fights at 5. Yeah, that's gonna be good. So let's talk about this DJ Wegesin versus Alex Jutis.
The old man matchup.
The old man match. How did this one come about?
This is a match I've been actually trying to make happen for a little while. DJ, I trained with DJ when I was a white belt and a blue belt. He's under Steve, or he started out. I don't know if he started out at the time. He was a brown belt under Steve Hedden, and Steve's who I started training under with the gi. I don't know if you know who Steve Hedden is, but he's a pioneer of the Georgia MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. Anybody who's been training jiu-jitsu, they have some kind of connection to Steve Hedden at some point in their life, whether they know it or not. Anyway, DJ was over there training with us, and it's small. I never will forget the first time I rolled with him. I was more of a wrestler style, and he was, like I say, a small guy, 140 pounds, and I was like, I'm just going to maul this little guy, and he choked me multiple times. So that's how I first encountered DJ, getting to train with him. But anyway, DJ's always been a smaller guy, but he's never been scared to roll with bigger guys, and he's always give him a hard time. I roll with, when me and David went up to Diego's open mat when he was training for his match, I got to roll with DJ again. Still a handful, deceptive with really good technique. Anyway, segueing into the matchup, DJ always hits me up and says, "Hey, I'll fight whoever." Or there was one time I couldn't find somebody to match up. He goes, "Why didn't you ask me?" I was like, "Well, the guy was a lot bigger than DJ." He goes, "I don't care." So then I started hitting him up. And I think DJ's only lost one match in the NFC. I think he's like 2-1, 3-1. Jutis is also like 3-1, and the one loss he did have was because he was beating the hell out of a guy, but he dropped him on his head and got the DQ. But after then, I was trying to match him up. Actually, sorry, I'm rambling at this point, but Alex was supposed to fight. I can't think of Randall's last name. Guy out of Alabama.
Randall Phillips.
That sounds right. Anyway, Jutis was supposed to. Alex and that guy were supposed to go against each other. Jutis got injured. He had a pretty severe leg injury. I think he tore a quad or something. It was something ligament in the knee. Had to pull out. DJ steps in, and to be honest with you, I was like, DJ, this guy's too big. And he's like, no, I don't care. DJ goes out and kills the guy. When I say killed him, he dominates the match. And I was like, well, you got to fight Alex next because this only makes sense. And Alex finally got healthy, and it took some nudging on both sides. I think they're friends, but we finally got them around. They're going to compete against each other.
How much heavier is Alex than DJ? Do you know? Like 20, 30 pounds?
If I had to guess, there's at least 30 to 40 pound difference.
Jesus. Like, how does that figure
Alex can come on. I don't know how. When I was training with Alex, I think Alex competes at middleweight, and I think that's like 182, 181, 182, somewhere in there. And I think DJ walks around in the 150s.
DJ's a fierce competitor. We had him on the show last week, man. I don't see anything about him that's afraid of Alex, man. Definitely look forward to that match. Do we know what time that match is going to happen?
That's going to be the 12th. There's 17 matches on the card. That's going to be number 12. And take consideration, these quartet matches, those are 4v4, so they could take, 20, 25 minutes to complete.
So, yeah, talking about those quartet matches, man, we've been on the pod here recently talking a lot about quartet matches and also that tag team, man. Do we have any of those on the card?
Well, we don't have any tag team matches. I always like trying to get the tag team matches because they seem to be drawing the most attention, but I couldn't get anything lined up for that. But like I said, we've got the two quartet tournaments, the female and the male. Real quick, we didn't get into Nate would be very disappointed if we don't give these ladies the attention they deserve. The female quartet consists of Megalodon has a team, Bad Apple MMA has a team, and Alliance has a team. I don't know much about the Bad Apple team other than Joseph Creer's wife's on there. I think she's pretty well-rounded in fighting in anything. Don't know much about the Megalodon team. They'll probably be more of a wrestler based off their coaches. And this Alliance team, they're tough. In Memphis, a couple of the girls that were on that team, they competed at Memphis, and they both won their divisions. They're tough competitors.
So your money is obviously on Alliance on that one, probably.
If anybody wants to wager, I would like to bet on Alliance.
And then the main event outside of the men's quartet finals is the main event, the last match. Before them, Andre Cunha versus Quintavious Marshall. We had Q on last week. Andre's out of Bruno's, Atos, Atlanta. What's your thoughts on those two guys? How you see that?
This is the match I'm most excited to watch. It's going to be, you got these old guys like me going on there, and Alex, we may put you to sleep, but we're doing our best. But you do not want to blink on this match with Andre and Quintavious. Andre's a pretty new brown belt, but he is a high-level adult competitor in the gi. I trained with him about a year ago, and he was definitely a tough role. He was a purple belt, but he was smaller. And then when I was getting ready for Euros, I went over there and cross trained. I took his class. Excellent teacher, and me and him rolled. And he's got his man strength along with that brown belt, and he's put on some size. He is a handful. I've never got to train with Quintavious, but the guy's always he's very high-paced roll. He's not necessarily unorthodox, but he will try some flashy moves. Never seen Andre roll in the no-gi before, so it's going to be an interesting matchup, but it'll definitely be high-paced. Andre's going to be probably the more technical one, but Quintavious more athletic, and definitely I don't know. You never know what you'll get from him as far as what I've seen this guy do flying triangles, crazy stuff in competitions.
How do you decide whether or not a match is going to be gi or no gi when it comes to the jiu-jitsu shows?
It's the competitors. When they fill out the form, they put whether they'll do gi, no gi, or sometimes they said they don't care. They'll do either one. We'll use this to talk about the match with Octavius and Jeffrey Cummins. You said I might be one of the top, or might be the top black belt on the card. Jeff Cummins is the top black belt on the card. Jeff Cummins, he never won any major competitions at adult black belt, but I know he won some of the lower belts, and he's won several IBJJF Opens at black belt, and he has some big wins. He beat Gianni Grippo. I know you don't know who the hell that is, but that's a big name in jiu-jitsu. He beat him one time at the Atlanta Open in a no-gi match. Jeff took some time off from competing, I think, and he was focusing on coaching and teaching, and he's got back where he's wanting to compete again, and he's been hitting me up to get on there, and he said he would do either gi or no gi. Again, he's such a high-level guy in the no gi. I couldn't get anybody to take a match with him, which I think his gi game's just as good. But Octavius, he's a really good guy out of Gracie Baja in Alabama. He said he was interested in taking the match, so it should be a decent match. I think Jeff's gonna edge him out on it, but I'm excited to see Jeff compete.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, Clay Bennett joining us here on NFC Now, show number 21 ahead of NFC Jiu-Jitsu show number 12 this Saturday, February 25th. David?
Yeah, so I guess one thing I want to hit on was Jake Paul. So I don't want to call you a degenerate gambler, but you are a gambler. You like waging money. You even said a minute ago if anyone wants to bet versus you. And I know nothing about gambling at all. I was just looking at it earlier. What does it – Jake Paul is minus 175 Sunday. And I totally forgot he's even fighting. But Jake Paul is minus 175. Tommy Fury is plus 150. For people looking to gamble, what do those numbers mean or represent?
So when the person has the negative sign in front of them, that means they're the favorite. That means in order to win $100, what did you say? It was minus 140?
He's minus 175.
175. So to win $100, you have to risk $175. So let's say I wanted to bet on Jake Paul, and I say I want to win $100, and if I lose, I have to pay them $175. Now, if you want to, and you multiply that by however much you want to say, you want to bet you want to win $1,000, then it would be 10 times 175. So you'd have to pay them $1,750 if you lost. Now the converse to that is the favorite. They have the plus. Since they're the underdog, the way they balance it out. If you bet on the underdog at plus 140, if you risk $100, you win $140. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes 1,000% sense. But just in regards to this fight, it doesn't. It's that sounds close to even money on this fight. It doesn't sound like Jake Paul is as big of a favorite as,
his
like
past fights.
His last fights.
Yeah.
I haven't really kept up with Jake Paul, the betting odds with that, but there's another small fight going on, unfortunately, the same day as ours. This guy called Gordon Ryan and Felipe Pena. Julian, I know you don't know who those guys are, but Gordon Ryan's the top no-gi jiu-jitsu competitor in the world right now. He's fighting Gordon Ryan Saturday. So I promise it won't be on during our jiu-jitsu card. So afterwards we can go watch it together. But he's fighting Felipe Pena. I think Gordon right now is like a minus 300. So you would have to risk $300 to win $100.
He's a
So
massive
that's a
favorite.
huge favorite compared to Jake Paul.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's a 3-1. Jake Paul's basically a little over 1.5 to 1 favorite. He's a 3-1. Trying to put this in perspective for like a football game when they do a spread. If you're like a minus 200 or so, you're about a 2 to 3 point favorite.
And I think the biggest odds, and I might be wrong, was Buster Douglas when he knocked out Mike Tyson. I think that was like 42 to 1. I didn't look it up, but I think that's what I remember on the 30 for 30 TV show. I might be completely wrong. So if you bet $100, you won 4,200 back.
That's correct. That's correct.
And I will say, for people looking to bet, go find a reputable website. Not to go too far into the drain, but Fight to Win does grappling, but Fight to Win has also tried to promote their odds, their gambling out there. If you're looking to gamble money and get paid right away if you win, I would strongly suggest not go and Fight to Win. I did it, and some other people did it. It took 6 months for them to pay you back. They wanted to pay you back in Bitcoin, $50 a month or something like that. So
well, at least you got paid.
Yeah.
FBI, if you're listening, go bust their ass because they're scamming people.
It took them 9 months to pay me back like $1,000 or something like that. It took forever.
Clay, before we let you go today, man, just my final question to you is, what do you prefer, gi or no gi, when it comes to competing?
Oh, I 100% prefer the gi. I don't mind training no-gi, especially helping guys get ready. And I've done no-gi competitions before, but I am way better in the gi than I am no-gi.
Okay. Just, I'm talking about like you actually watching, because you said Gordon Ryan is going to be.
As far as watching, I still prefer watching the gi. Again, there's more technique involved in it. I appreciate the gi more because it's a more technical game. But it seems like the popularity in jiu-jitsu is shifting to no-gi. But a part of that is Gordon Ryan's personality is really boosting that as well. He talks a lot of trash. He really promotes the fights. But before I get off here, there's one fight we haven't talked about that I want to talk about. That would be fight number 11, Daniel Hunt versus Dustin Hot Sauce Waters.
I forgot to ask. So Dustin is a fellow lobster.
He is. Dustin's 36 now, and Daniel Hunt is 27. So that's the difference between an adult black belt and a Master 2 black belt. And how old are you, Julian?
28.
See, you'll understand this more when you get to be in your late 30s, how much of an athletic difference there is between a 27-year-old and a 36-year-old. So Dustin's stepping up. He wanted on the card. I've been asking a lot of the Master 2 guys, and nobody would take it. And this Daniel Hunt, he actually signed up to do 220. He's agreed to cut down. So Dustin's given up about 10 years in age, and he's going to be the smaller competitor. He's giving up the size, but he's been training hard for this match. He's come up to Tribe and cross train with me, and I've been going to Kenny's to help. We've been helping each other prepare for it. So this would be one of the better fights of the night. But Dustin is a really strong competitor. I think he's going to edge it out. But that's one I would definitely earmark as an exciting match to watch.
Can't wait to watch that one. You said that's fight number 11. Clay, you're going to be fight number 3. To follow up from that last question that I asked you, you talked about Gordon Ryan talking a lot of trash and promoting the sport and the no-gi. And I believe Quintavious was on the show last week and also talked about how no-gi was the way in which it's trending to reach a larger audience. What do you think can be done in jiu-jitsu to reach a more mainstream audience, to get people like myself and, just our average MMA guys that are out here to just be more knowledgeable and more interested in the sport?
To be honest with you, it's a tough thing it's going to be tough to get to the general population, because the problem with jiu-jitsu growing as far as a sport is most of the people who want to watch jiu-jitsu are people who do jiu-jitsu, whereas some, a layman isn't, going to understand what's going on. And it's not the most flashy sport. Whereas you can bring somebody off the street in for an MMA fight or a boxing match, and they see two guys beating the hell out of each other. It don't take much to understand that, punching somebody in the face and the guy going down, that's pretty basic. But you get somebody in there, some of the more complicated positions or whatnot, or some of the, you may get a wrist lock, and if the guy doesn't tap, he would have broke his hand or broke his wrist, but it happened so fast and the guy didn't know what he was watching. And he's like, well, what happened? So it's going to be tough to grow jiu-jitsu that way, but the no-gi is growing more because promotions like Flow and various other ones, and the NFC too, they're paying these guys to do the competitions. IBJJF is way behind. That's where most of your gi competitions come from. They're way behind on that. They don't pay hardly. I think they have one tournament where they'll pay the winner.
Last question I had before we'll let you go. We have Alex Jutis coming up next in a minute after you. We had DJ Wegesin last week. We should have you on more often as our gambling person. If you had to put odds on Alex Jutis versus DJ Wegesin, what would the odds be if people wanted to come to the show and gamble on that fight?
God, that's it's going to be so tough to say. I haven't got to train with Alex. Well, I haven't got to train with either of them in a long time. This would be one of those matches where I would make Alex the favorite, but I would bet on DJ for an upset.
And numbers, if people want to do numbers, what are the numbers that we should tell them?
I would probably say Alex is maybe like a minus 150 and DJ is a plus 130. But with those numbers, I would bet on DJ.
So you take the underguard and more money.
Yeah.
Indeed. Clay Cat Daddy Bennett, thank you for joining us here today on NFC. Now look forward to watching you not only run the show on Saturday, man, but compete in the show. What you call it, a fight, or you call it a competition?
I'll call it a fight, but it's a debatable thing. Obelisk doesn't like calling it a fight, so I'm not going to upset the owner, and we'll call it a competition. Your match. How about we call it a match? We look forward to. There we go. I like that even better. We look forward to your match. That's match number 3 this Saturday. Doors at 4, fights at 5, February 25th. Clay, appreciate you joining us. Thanks for having me, guys. Boom. We got our guy Alex Jutis coming up next.
Before we throw to Alex, I finally got our video lined up to preview March 10th at the Battery. A little bit of your audio, so let's hit that before we bring Alex up in 2 minutes.
Let's go. Atlanta's most exciting sporting event takes over the Battery for the very first time. Friday, March 10th at Sports and Social for NFC 153. So don't miss your chance to watch these gladiators go to war in the NFC cage at Sports and Social live at the Battery. Friday, March 10th. Tickets are available at nfcfighting.com.
Dope.
Voila! What'd you think, man?
I thought it was cool. I like the audio voiceover on it. I think it adds some hype to it.
Yeah, okay. This is our first time talking about this. We just premiered this live for the March 10th show. Again, you said you like it. Would you do anything different? Would you, you kind of allow, I appreciate you for always allowing us our artistic freedom.
Yeah.
But come on, give us some feedback.
I thought it was cool. It was different. It was cool. Highlighted Atlanta, your voice, which I've been wanting one. Like, I think we saw us do a longer one, like a minute long, almost like the Falcons did with Ludacris doing like a 60-second voiceover or what's his name? Morgan Freeman, that always had a good voice. Like, I think that would be dope as well. But yeah, I think there's a good intro video. We've got 5 or 6 videos already for the March 10th fight in the hamper. So yeah, it was a good mix up of different ones. I like it.
We'll definitely continue to build on that, man. We in this house, we always say short and sweet beats long and weak, man. So we like to just give you something small, simple that you could use, and then we could continue to expand on it, man. But we just, you always tell me about the date. The date is the most important thing. The date is the most important thing. So when I was writing that yesterday, I was, and look, these are my notes right here. Let me see. Will it pop up?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my notes. Tickets are limited, and I just wrote some stuff down, kept it simple. So
sweet.
Voila. I thought it sounded good too. That's my first time actually seeing what she did with it, like the full thing. So that looked good. Shout out to
well,
Generally Childress, founder and CEO of Flatline Cinema. This is NFC Now, show number 21. I did not mean to cut you off, but I figured you were about to cut to our guy, Alex Jutis, who
I was
will
gonna
be
say we
competing.
got the odds. Let's see what Alex thinks. Alex is minus 150 favorite. DJ Wegesin plus 130. Can you see and hear us, Alex?
I can see you guys. So those are the odds, huh?
You were minus 150, so it looks like you're the favorite in this matchup, according to our degenerate gambler, Clay Bennett. It sounds like you are in a place with no Wi-Fi and we cannot see or hear you. Uh-oh. Should we do this?
You see me now?
No, we just see like a freeze frame of you just in the wilderness somewhere, it looks like. Are you on your way anywhere to the gym?
I'm in my Tesla.
Oh, man, I'm getting one soon. I need to ask you your opinion of that. I was going to say, we've got Richard Cox here waiting, who is in his room. Are you going to be anywhere in like 20 minutes that would have Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. Let's hit Richard Cox, the matchmaker from Florida, and then we'll come back to you. Just shoot me a message on Facebook when you know you're in somewhere with Wi-Fi. All right. Well, that worked for him, I guess. He just dropped off. So we got Richard in the hamper here waiting. We'll go to him.
Time out. Sorry. Time out, David. Time out. So when stuff like that happens, when I see people in their car, I just automatically think about you and Doug Usher. And I know what you be thinking. And like when he got on, I was just smiling because I was like, I know David is thinking some thoughts right now. Walk us through what's going through your head, brother.
And then I love Alex, but he tried to rationalize it by him in my Tesla. I love Elon Musk, but obviously the Tesla ain't working for the Wi-Fi on the podcast. We're not the Joe Rogan show or nothing like that, but he just messaged me. He'll be somewhere in 20 minutes. So, hey.
Word. It's all good. That's what happens here on NFC Now. This is show number 21. We're still working through the kinks with some of our guests. Y'all just know if you're going to be asked to come on the show, just be somewhere in the house, good Wi-Fi, so we can hear you. It's all love. NFC Now, show number 21. We're now about to talk to Georgia MMA Hall of Famer, the man who now resides and lives in Florida, running in matchmaking for Combat Night, somebody that I had the honor to meet this past weekend. And he politely told me, if I don't know, I need to get to know who Richard Cox is. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce Richard Cox. What up, man? Happy Wednesday.
What's going on, guys? For having me.
Good to see you again, brother. How you feeling today, man?
Can you hear me? I don't know if I got that Walmart Wi-Fi going here.
You good, brother? Are you at Walmart?
No. I'm at home. I'm in the office.
Word, man. Good to see you again, man. It was a pleasure meeting you this past week too, man.
Oh, pleasure was mine. You killed it, bro.
I appreciate the love, man, for sure. So yeah, when we were talking about guests to possibly have on the show, you were the first person that I thought of because of our interaction in the cage before I left. You were like, "Hey, man, Julian's a rookie. He don't know who the hell I am," and so I was like, "Well, look, what better place to get to find out than on NFC Now?" So thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, man. Are you allowed to cuss on this thing? Because I got to.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I believe what I said is I'm the one that runs this motherfucker. You need to know that.
That is what was said, and then I just referred back to the rookie comment. I was like, "Look, I'm a rookie, man. I'm still learning." I didn't know because it seemed like you were in the background when I was just in discussions. I was always talking to Ramsey and Mitchell, and so forgive me. So would you just explain to me what role do you play within Combat Night?
Basically anything to do with talent relations, booking fights, geniusing as we call it.
Indeed, and
I mean that's kind of thing. We look out for fans and athletes first. So has anything contract or a fight that would be in my wheelhouse.
Indeed, man, and it definitely seemed like the fighters always showed a lot of love to you, man. I saw your interactions with certain fighters; it seemed like you had a connection with them. But let's take a couple steps back, man. One doesn't just start in that role when it comes to combat night. They just don't get thrown into that role. It seems like this has been a lifelong journey, man. Could you start with your introduction into martial arts?
Absolutely. So as David's gonna laugh as I say, I grew up a pro wrestling fan, and just typical fat kid, typical fat kid on. And I started playing sports and then myself, and I was I loved the style. I would get in because I was just hitting belly to belly. Then like one summer I started watching the UFCs. I had seen it when I was really young, but one summer, this is back when we had to go rent cassettes. Would have been the mid late 90s. Rented a bunch of them, and then me and my buddy were trying to practice the move, and ended up getting a hold of Murillo Monte, Mario Sperry tape, and we would drill that stuff in my backyard. Nasty rain-infested mattresses that picked up here and there. And then I started with James Corbett. I know Oblas would know who that is. I James Corbett in '99, and from there, I mean, actually, he broke in. I would help him behind the scenes on defense, and then I kind of started the thing, and then I started whoring. I lost, promoting. It was rough in the early 2000s, pouring myself out.
I was going to say, I know, James. Well, first I'd say if you can, try to move your microphone a little bit closer to your mouth or something like that, because your audio, like we're only hearing one out of every 3 words. So I was going to say that, but it's funny you mentioned James Corbett, because at the beginning of the show, I mentioned James Corbett of Julian, that I saw a photo of y'all's combat night, and he was actually sitting next to James all night, and I wonder if they talked at all, and I was going to text him, but James Corbett was one of the guys that I got started with, because I started promoting here in 2002, but working with the Athletic Commission in 1999, 2000. And back then, James Corbett had a big heavyweight named Jonathan Wizorick or Wizorick, whatever his pronunciation was. Wizorick. But I remember when I came in, he was one of the top dogs in Georgia back then. And I don't even know where the hell he is right now. I don't know if you've kept up with that name at all.
Yeah, man, he's in Illinois. He got a bachelor in sports medicine and all that, and he helps he does all the stuff for the athletes at that school he's at. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the school, but that dude was a true badass. I mean,
I remember him. Yeah.
I don't know
if
he ever
saw the
surface of what he really could have done. He just was just naturally good.
Yeah. And I think James Corbett is a college professor, I'm not mistaken. I believe he teaches college, doesn't he?
He teaches high school.
High schools. Okay, my bad. I knew he was a teacher. And then what is your role with Combat Night the night of? Like, I know with Jesse Wabels, you're the equivalent with the NFC matchmaker, but like on a fight night, what do you usually do or run on a fight night, or is your job done at that point?
I mean, it's just like we all have labels, but we all help with everything, absolutely everything, from setting up chairs to putting out fires throughout the night with fans, fighters, etc. But that night specifically, just making sure the background's good, making sure there's no problems. It's a little different here. There's a transitional period from your amateur event to your pro event, so you have to have separate locker rooms. It's like it's hurting cats basically. So
the show ran super smooth from my perspective. I didn't see anything or hear anything like, hey, well, we need some more time, buy some time, or this fight broke out. It seemed like everything was pretty cool. I told David about how dope I thought the venue was, man. I love the music. I love the lights. I thought it was a fun show to be at. You know what I'm saying? I thought the crowd was really engaged, and that was just my perspective, and that was my feedback to David as well.
Yeah, man, Tallahassee though, that's where we all started. That's when Combat Night was born 11 years ago, and that's our original venue. So it's always nice to go back there and put on a good one.
Now, when you go to different shows, like even David's shows or other shows around the Southeast or just around the country, what are some of the things that you're looking at, and like what are some things that stand out to you in a good or bad way from different shows?
What do you mean as far as like venues?
Not only just venues, just the way that shows are ran, and like, you know, because each show has its nuances. You know, from the announcer to the music that's being played, to the fights that are to the materials that are out there, to the way that they treat their guests. Like, what are some things that you pick up on now that you've been a part of a promotion for this amount of time?
The biggest thing I can give you is if you take your ass to South Florida, you might as well have went to a whole nother country because it's insane down there.
In what way?
It's just wild, man. I don't know. There's everybody's aggressive and loud and proud and just crazy. It's a crazy atmosphere down there. And that venue we use down there is it's a small venue. I think Dave's been there.
I went to y'all's Fort Lauderdale show because we partnered with Mitchell on a show there, and then I stuck around for a night and went to his show Saturday night. Unfortunately, you weren't there, so we didn't get to hang out. But it was a tiny venue. It was 100% standing room. There's no tables for the athletic commission, which I thought was absolutely crazy. I would have gotten beat down for that here in Georgia. But just 3 stools for the judges. And I told Julian, like, even the announcer part, the commentators were back. It was just a whole different vibe. It was cool and different.
Yeah, those small venues, it's definitely different. I think Julian got to see one of our better venues as far as size and space and just, you know, all the lights and sounds and all that good stuff. But I like those small shows too because, you know, the energy is just it's just so live in that small area.
And it's crazy what Mitchell does because Mitchell, this isn't a bad thing. It's just a different thing from the way I operate. But Mitchell stays cage side basically the whole entire night, running you all's Instagram photos and videos, gets in the cage after every fight. Like when I was there, I didn't see him putting out any fires or really going backstage or talking to the fans. He was IG man all night long.
Yeah. I think that like it's not too well, it is to brag. I just think we have a great team. You know, we're all I just think he knows he can rely on his team to make sure that that things are taken care of. But trust me, we hear about it if it's not. So but he's he wears a lot of hats, man. He might not look like he's doing much, but he knows absolutely everything that's going on. He's a fascinating human.
Yeah. I definitely saw just his attention to detail when it came to marketing and social media. And he had, I love the production. How many people y'all had taking pictures, getting videos. I love the production. I think that makes a big difference. You know, we're production people over here. So just seeing that, man, it was dope, man. And, you know, just going back to what you said about how y'all just started training on dirty rain soaking mattresses and whatnot, man. Like, did you ever compete?
I had a couple Muay Thai bouts, and we used to do these things. I don't know if Dave knows this guy, but Mike Carlson.
Yeah. Mike don't like me.
Well, I don't like Mike, so
I was going to say I hate Mike.
Yeah, he's not a good person. But anyway, he used to do these things where you'd wear a gi, but it was like karate rules. But if you went to the ground, you could do jujitsu. And I did a lot of those, but I wouldn't classify those as fights whatsoever. And just jiu-jitsu tournaments, things of that nature.
So this is ultimately, from what I'm hearing, man, this is something that like you fell in love with just by just watching it and then training in your backyard. And now this is like your opportunity to still be around the sport and have impact and influence, and especially in that market.
For sure, man. Like Mitchell, you know, he would fight for me. Him and Josh Saman, their teammates, and them specifically would come and fight for me on different shows. I used to just kind of match for anybody that would call me up. If they heard about me, other than doing my own events, I would just matchmake. So I just met a lot of these guys through that. But I was matchmaking 10 years before I ever even met Mitchell.
When it comes to matchmaking, like, you know, we just got off the line with a Clay Bennett. He's the matchmaker for jiu-jitsu. What are some of the things that like people don't understand when it comes to matchmaking, and like in times where your integrity comes into play when it comes to matching? I'm sure that there has to be a time where like your integrity comes in and you know people that you're matching and everything. But could you talk about some of those moments where you have to make those decisions when nobody's looking?
I mean, I don't know about integrity, because at the end of the day, and this may piss people off, but we're in the entertainment business. So whatever you have to do to give the people the product. I mean, sometimes what you would think is like a mismatch or something like that. I mean, sometimes you got to take what you can get. But also there's occasions where you're trying to help build somebody. And when you have regional talent, you need to look out for your regional talent to a certain point. But then when they get to a good higher level, you have to test them. You have to see what they got, or they're going to get smoked at the next level. I mean, I also believe, too, when it comes to the matches, like, hey, we live in America. So as far as, like, if two grown-ass men or women decide, hey, yeah, we're going to kick each other's ass, who is anybody to say they can't do that, you know? So, but knowing guys, I mean, obviously you make connections, but at the end of the day, we all know what's going on. I mean, I'm not going to favor anyone or anything like that. You have to get in there, no matter how it looks on paper. I'm sure Dave can attest to this too. It's like, no matter how it looks on paper or how it's supposed to play out, at the end of the day, that cage door locks, and two people are going to fight, and anything can happen in a fight.
Have you ever felt bad about a match that you made and like watching it turn out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, 100%. No, I've seen some guys get the shit beat out of them, and I go home and I'm like questioning myself. Did I do the wrong thing there? But ultimately, it's adults making adult decisions. So at the end of the day, especially when it comes to professionals, I mean, you're signing a contract. You know what you're getting into, and we live in a world where all the information you need is just at your fingertips. So if anybody's talking about like mismatches or that someone's been swerved into doing something maybe they shouldn't, that's just crazy. If you've got the person's name, their date of birth, and you got info on them, you know exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah, and everyone knows someone at the other gym, a trainer at the other gym, a teammate at the other gym. So even before they say yes or no, they can find out a little bit of info. And you and I have been around this game long enough to know that before YouTube and everything else out there, you really couldn't find much on your opponent. So whether Richard Cox, David Oblis, or Jesse Wable told you, if you lose, you're going to blame it on Jesse Wable or Richard Cox. You're going to blame it on everyone but yourself. But now all the information is really at your fingertips.
Yeah, like Dave's saying, I would have probably had a different answer for you 15 years ago, but nowadays there's just no excuses. I mean, the information's out there. You know what you're getting into. But as far as other matches, like it's fun doing some storytelling. You know, like it's kind of storytelling. You know, if there's a beef there or there's a style clash, you know, where you can just kind of tell that story, that's always rewarding as well, you know, or you see the big upset, you know, stuff like that's really cool. So you just can't predict whatsoever. I have seen black belt world champions get annihilated by a white belt that wouldn't know an armbar from a crescent wrench, you know. So fighting's just so unpredictable. I think we all, if you're half-ass educated, you have a guess going into a fight who's got the advantage or who maybe is like supposed to win, but you just never know. And I think that's maybe one of the things I love the most about this is the unpredictability. You can never, just anything can happen. You literally can slip on a bead of sweat and blow your knee out, you know, or you just run into an elbow or a knee and that's it. It's truly fascinating sport.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Cox joining us here on NFC Now, show number 21, as we discuss his start in martial arts and his role within Combat Night. We're also talking about matchmaking right now. David, you had a question.
I think I was asking him if he has any crazy stories that come to mind over the years, you know, not only in the cage, but before the fight, after the fight, like anything that's ever come to mind that just absolutely people wouldn't believe would have happened or whatnot.
Man, I wish there's a lot, you know, and I'm trying to think of a good one for you.
I was messaging Jesse Wable earlier. I think last night I was talking about a guy, Clay Harvison, that fought on a lot of our shows, and he fought a guy named Eric. I couldn't remember his name, but I think on a show called Daisy of Love, like a reality show called Daisy of Love, he was one of the characters on there in MTV or VH1 or something like that. And he fought Clay at Wild Bills for us. He lost to Clay, and then that night in the hotel room, he went back, and I don't know if he tried to drown himself or he passed out when he was drunk or what. But the next morning, the hotel called me and said he flooded his room. He passed out in the bathtub like Whitney Houston style, nearly killed himself. The water overflowed to the hotel room below it. Because I was messing Jesse and Charlene last night, telling them how years ago I should have bought like a fighter hotel to have all out-of-town fighters stay at. And then I remembered that story about him that overflowed the hotel. I was like, yeah, thank God that would have been a horrible idea if I had done that. And then, you know, Kyle Maynard, the kid with no arms and no legs that fought for me. So an amputee, Shea Taylor, got his leg yanked off in the cage in the mid-fight. So I don't know if there's like any crazy ones with you guys out there through the years. Probably no amputee stories, I'd imagine.
We did have 2 kids. We got a lot of flack, but I think it worked out fine. We did have 2 kids that both had cerebral palsy fight each other, and I thought it was special because they both acted like it meant the world to them. And it's like we might laugh about it or might not look at it like that, but it's like two grown men with this handicap are telling you that this is their dream, the greatest day of their life. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As far as really crazy shit, man. One time we had a guy, I'll leave his name out of it because but it was his brother that did this. So we had some guys go out to the ring, and of course, you know, you leave your stuff behind. And the kid stole his cell phone, his debit card, and all that. No, he left the phone behind because that's how we found him. So we immediately get in the car and we start telling his brother, who was the fighter, like, "Oh, you missed some interviews, and you know, oh, I forgot to give you some travel," something like that. Well, we ended up cornering him at a hotel, and without saying too much, we got the debit card and everything back. But it was just wild how we were in the hallways of this Holiday Inn, like 2 on one end, 2 on the other, 2 at the fire escape, 2 at the elevator, and it was just pretty wild.
Crazy.
And I wish I thought a little more that you'd give me. That's such a great question. I know if I sat here and thought, I could come up with some crazy shit we've seen because some of the most unique people in the world are in this sport and crazy as hell too. So,
how do Georgia fighters get in contact with you? Or are you ever looking for Georgia fighters? I know you guys travel all over Florida and have thousands of fighters looking, but what does it take for a local Georgia fighter to fight for Combat Night?
I mean, I pretty much am open to anyone. Just I say that like based on how they respond. You know, if they hit me up, most of the time, you know, we have such a pool of fighters that, you know, you just here and there. I'm sure you see me posting all the time. You'll need specific weights and things like that. But I mean, it's just through social media, contacting people. I'll give anybody a chance if they want to hit me up. It's just according to how they respond. If it's just like they send you a book of how this is their life's dream, and I'm like, I'm buying into their story, and then I start scrolling through pictures, and they're smoking cigarettes and drinking. There's not anything of them in a gym. I mean, I can read between the lines exactly what we're gonna get. So I'll try to bypass that if it's obvious. But and there's some wild cats that do this stuff. They won't train at all and get in that ring and fight. I mean, God bless them, but they're idiots.
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Cox joining us here on NFC Now. Before we part ways today, man, what do you want to leave our entire NFC community with?
Oh man, it's I mean, I feel like we're not on the same team, but we kind of are. Like Dave's been killing it for as long as I've been doing this. Dave's been around. The only time I ever say like territory, the only time I've been up that way is I had been friends with Brett Moses for years, and he kind of made a second run at one point and tried to do a few shows up at like the Tabernacle. So I helped him out, but much respect to the OG, the Don of Georgia for MMA. You guys just keep supporting him, keep fighting for him, keep supporting him, plugging his product, and if you're tired of this shit, give me a holler and come fight.
Even if you're not tired of my shit, just like we sent Julian to you, the Georgia fighters can fight for you. They can still come back here. We use your guys every once in a while. We're renting your cage in 2 weeks. Renting your cage March 10th in a couple weeks. Angel's bringing it up here. You should ride with him if you want to. If
I might
come to Atlanta and set up and tear down a cage with us.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, even Brett Moses, me and Brett are tight. We're not tight now. We're very friendly now. He runs X3 Sports in Athens. We use his fighters all the time. So,
Man,
we even mended that fence.
I love hearing that, man, because I know y'all hated each other for a long time.
We did. We finally we put him into the NFC Hall of Fame, I think like 3 years ago. And
That's
we sat
awesome.
down and chatted for a while then. I told him that was probably overdue. And yeah, I think we're on pretty good terms now.
That's awesome.
But Mike Carlson's not getting into the NFC Hall of Fame.
Yeah, fuck you, Mike Carlson.
Richard Cox, it was a pleasure having you on the NFC Now pod, man. Thank you for joining us.
Man, thank you guys so much. Keep doing y'all's thing, man. And thank you guys for doing this for our sport and our region. It's we need more of this kind of stuff.
Sure enough, man. Thank you for the opportunity to shake your hand on Saturday too, man. It was a pleasure meeting you, brother.
Great to meet you too, Julian.
Indeed, man. You have a good one, all right?
All right, Oblas.
Peace. Later.
Obleasy here at NFC Now, show number 21. Before we get to Alex Jutis, man, you did have a meeting with Brian Jordan.
I did, yeah. We met for lunch the other day. Myself and Brian Jordan, one of the 3 guys that ever play football and baseball, Braves and Falcons, and several other teams. We're doing a big video shoot Friday with you and Jen Lee in a studio. We'll have many fighters there, and Brian's going to come there. And it's crazy. I was telling the guy that met with us, Brian volunteered to do anything I asked him to do. I kept asking, what do you want us to do for you? What can I do for you? What can the NFC do for you? You write books. You write children's books. Can we help publicize that? You're on Bally Sports with the Braves. You have a charity golf tournament. It was crazy. He didn't want anything in return. Didn't want anything back. He just said, dude, I like you. I've met you a few times. I've come to your fights. I love the fights. I love the sport. Anything I can do to help out, you just let me know. So I've never met with anyone before that has volunteered so much and asked for nothing in return. It's kind of crazy.
Shout out to Brian Jordan. Shout out to the pick. We saw the pick, so we know it's real.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Indeed. Look forward to meeting him again on this Friday coming up. We got a big shoot coming up. Shout out to you for being receptive to those ideas. Yeah, man. I feel like we're here, man, to just uplift, to add value. You know what I'm saying, Dave? We just trying to over here add value, brother.
And before we go to Alex Jutis, has now been waiting like an hour because he went from the Tesla, which I need to ask him about the Tesla, to his home. Let us play Jenna Lee's Video Flatline Cinema for the main event Friday, March 10th. And then we're bringing Alex Jutis.
Voila.
Mad Mike Wilson. I'm the soon-to-be featherweight champion at the NFC, and I'm fighting Devontae Sewell for the opportunity to get that belt.
Here you go, your boy, the grinder, Devontae Sewell. I'll be fighting March 10th, Friday, live at the Battery. I'll be fighting Mike Wilson in the main event.
Oh, me and Devontae, we've actually trained together multiple times, so a lot of mutual respect for each other. When the fight was offered, he messaged me respectfully, like, hey, what do you think about this? I said, hey, man, if it works for you, if you can make some money off of it, I'm looking for a big fight, so, let's do it.
Mike, good people, strictly business. We'll see each other March 10th and let the best man win.
I know his work ethic a good bit about his style, but he knows what to capitalize on me, and I know what to capitalize on him in certain situations. And we're not guys who aren't going to go for that kill when we know it's theirs.
I'm definitely going to take full opportunity of this showcase. This is a good challenge in front of me. I'm focused. I'm ready to kill.
The fight's going to be March 10th. It's going to be NFC 153 live at the Battery right here by the Braves Stadium at Sports and Social.
Me, Devontae, the Grinder Sewell versus Mike Wilson in the main event. Get your tickets at nfcfighting.com. Let's get it popping.
That final shot is crazy. With them two both back to back, that's the one.
That and the venue, and it was all super good. They're both good talkers. They've trained with each other. They're friendly.
Look at you over there, a promoter's wet dream. Look at you, man. Just over there, just like, yeah, I can't wait. Oh, my gosh, it's incredible.
I don't know how 2 guys can train each other and just agree to fight each other. It's the weirdest thing in the world to me.
What?
They've trained together many times. They've been friendly, and now they're going to fight in the main event. I don't know.
Man,
we always talk about that. I had a slice of pizza, but there's got to be like some middle ground. We should have asked them how many times they did train together. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, Devontae said it's strictly business, and the reason I said what like that because I feel like you changed your tone, but yeah, as you said, it's not a slice of pizza, but yeah, I mean, look, this is a big main event. Corey Jackson wasn't available for it, Yeah,
and it's weird. They're both on West Atlanta or West of Georgia. I don't know. I forgot to ask Mike like how much time they have spent training together.
I'm interested to see it too. And what's crazy? As I was watching that video, I just noticed other pictures that was in the background. I know we talked the other week about pound for pound fighters in the NFC. I gotta throw my man Christian the Titan Turner in there. I know he fought and competed this past week. I think he ended up losing, but still, every time he stepped into the NFC cage, that dude was whipping a lot of ass. And so I just think that that was a random thought that came up because I saw his face in the promo. I thought the venue looked great though in the promo, the back of it. I mean, who wouldn't want to be on this card?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be super fun. It's selling well. There's still tickets available. I'm not going to BS and say there's not. But there's still plenty of tickets able. Only a few tables with 4 and 8 left. Not many tables, but it's selling super good. We're pushing it hard. The venue's pushing it hard. That whole area's the bomb. So yeah, it should be it should be a really good card. Obviously, good fights, good venue, good atmosphere. Go get something to eat at the pizza place beforehand, after fight at PBR. So yeah, what'd you say? Goldberg?
I said Goldberg's.
Goldberg's. That's the place to be. Yeah.
Good, ladies and gentlemen, David Oblas, Julian Virgin, NFC Now, show number 21. About to kick it back to a guy that we had on a little earlier. Some would say that he is the favorite for his fight this Saturday night against DJ Wegesin. Our guy Alex Jutis. Alex, are we clear now? We crystal?
I hope so. I got started.
David, how would you describe it?
It's weird. I see your frozen face again and don't hear audio. Can you hear us? See us? You're not still on the Tesla Wi-Fi, are you? Judas is going to murder us when he sees us Saturday.
Nah, he got somebody else he got to deal with. He got to deal with my man DJ, not us. Alex, you here, brother?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I could hear you. You know what? Let's do it like this. Turn off your camera. We'll do strictly audio.
He turned off his phone by accident.
He turned off his phone. So
we're going to have to start sending camera equipment to all of our guests. Like the week of the show, we're going to send them a video camera and a light and a microphone.
And why don't we go ahead and send them the questions that we're going to ask them too? Come on, man. We can't do everything. Come on, brother. Alex,
all right, I got you. Can you hear me?
That's a lot better. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jutis joining us here on NFC Now, show number 21, ahead of his fight versus DJ Wegesin this Saturday, February 25th at NFC Jiu-Jitsu number 12. Alex, how you feeling, brother?
Brother, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you having me on, and sorry about the technical difficulties, but I am here. Thank you for having me.
Man, we'll work through it, man. We'll work through it for sure. Definitely look forward to watching you compete, man. Before we talk about this competition, we'll talk about your last time in the NFC cage, man. I believe that fight ended via disqualification, man. Could you just walk us through what happened, especially now that we've had some time to kind of really process the whole ordeal?
Well, yeah, I was up, I think 16-0 with about 34 seconds left, and my opponent locked up a standing Kimura, and I reached for a high crouch, and as soon as his feet left the ground, he just did not bail on the Kimura, and somehow they got upended, dropped on his head. But I will say, in over 250 competitions, that is the first time that I did disqualify him. That night, but that's why I'm back. I'm back to redeem myself.
Indeed, man. When that whole thing went down, I'm sure there was a level of emotion being that, you were up 16-0 with a couple seconds left and, you got disqualified, man. Could you just walk through those emotions? Like, what were your emotions in that moment?
Well, I'm going to do now is I think gone either way. I mean, you have to respect the, it was definitely unintentional. I would definitely prefer, a rule change as far as a warning goes. We don't want that unintentional, but, frustrated before because of the match. It was certainly, and so, it's got to put it in, and here I'm the opponent. And
here you are getting ready to compete. It is all good. He just got up out of there too. David, did you get rid of that? What happened?
I didn't get rid. I haven't touched anything. He must have hit it. I think he's got daughters. His daughter should have helped him get on the Wi-Fi earlier. I was giving him a mention that his daughters are about your age, probably. Giving him and DJ the oldest men to ever compete, combined age for the NFC Jiu-Jitsu.
Man,
Yeah.
it's third time a charge. Are we going to call it third time, 3 strikes, you're out? Are we going to do it like that?
He can whoop both of our asses, and he can put us. He can lift up his slam.
Look, we ain't throwing no shade. We just, for the sake of time, it's all love. Alex Jutis will be competing against DJ Wegesin this Saturday night, February 25th. NFC Jiu-Jitsu show number 12.
We had bad luck on Wednesdays. Wednesdays ain't our light.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Look, we apologize to all the fans. We apologize to all the fans for not being consistent and doing it on this Monday. I have to take accountability for that. I would have hopped on the show, but I would have been in my car still driving, and I didn't want to have that happen. And I'm hosting the show.
You would have been Doug Usher for 2 hours.
Yeah, I've been in the car for a long time. We could have done it, but look, I think Richard Cox said it right. He said, thank y'all for doing this. I think it's still important that we give our combatants and the people involved with the sport an opportunity to talk and to express themselves here on this platform that we do most Mondays. This just happens to be a Wednesday. I understand that this wasn't the smoothest of shows today, but hey, we showed up, and that's 80% of the battle, Dave.
And you're gonna have to figure out next Monday. I've got my back surgery next Monday, 6 a.m. So we're gonna have to figure out what you do next Monday. I'm sure you'll overcome it one way or another. We'll have to figure out plans, but I'm sure it'll run just fine. I might get fired after next Monday if it runs better.
We'll figure out how to make it work. Look forward to having a couple of guests on that just, maybe we have somebody that really stands out from this jiu-jitsu show. I'm hoping my homie takes it home. And, I don't like to play homers on this one because I'm definitely sure his opponent is game and ready to go. But again, just as Richard Cox said, we are human, and we do have our favorites. So, and I won't even say my homie's name, but I just, we know who we talking about right now. So yeah, and we wish you the best on your surgery on Monday, man. How you feeling about it? You a little nervous? What's up?
No, I'm glad to get it over. I had back surgery probably about 14 months ago. It fixed what was going on. Dr. Traub's office did it, thank God, and it fixed what was going on. And my mom was in the hospital a few weeks ago with a sprained ankle. Me and the nurse had to lift her out of the wheelchair and into my truck, and I felt it right then. I couldn't tell my mom, but I've got 3 herniated discs, with one that's much worse than the other 2. 2 of them are small, one of them is big, and having surgery Monday to just shave down that herniated disc. So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been able to do anything for about 6 or 7 weeks. At Monday Night Brewing, at the fight of Monday Night Brewing, I had to keep going to the office and laying down with this little thing that shakes on your back and kind of massages your back. I had to, about every 30 minutes, sneak away for about 10-minute breaks in there and do that. So I'm looking forward to just getting it over with and hopefully feeling normal after it. It's kind of sucked.
Yeah, no, we hope that you can be a part of the NFC experience and don't have to skate out every 10 minutes, man. Now, just transitioning real quick. Are you selling your vehicle?
I am. I'm trying to figure out what the hell to do with it. I've my Jeep truck. I've always wanted to have a Jeep. I bought it 2 years ago. I love it, so I haven't figured out what to do. If you want to buy it, it's on Facebook, Facebook Marketplace. If someone in the community buys it, I'll give you two season tickets. You get 2 tickets to every fight night along with the Jeep. I also put on this website called Turo or something like that, where you can like go to different cities and rent cars if you don't want to rent from a normal enterprise or something like that. So I put on both, see what happens. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, I'm curious to see what the rental does, because it seems like you make second source of income doing that. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that or keep it or what.
We've actually rented a Jeep on Turo when we went to Hawaii, and it was honestly the best money that we spent when we were in Hawaii. It really wasn't expensive, but we rented a brand new Jeep. It was like a one of those hybrid joints. It was like half gas, half electric, and we literally rode that bad boy all throughout Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the best thing that we could have done. So, and it was a brand new Jeep. So I'm sure you could probably, get some extra bread off that. But I have to know, why are you wanting to sell your car?
I guess multiple reasons. Just I love the Jeep. I've always wanted one, but it's uncomfortable as hell. I'm not going to give you 100 different reasons. And I was talking to John Marigliano, who has the same exact Jeep that I do, but his is more decked out, nicer Jeep, bigger tires. But it's uncomfortable as hell. There's no features on it like a new car. It's just a stripped down Jeep, basically. I don't have the balls to take the Jeep's doors off. Like, the cool thing about Jeeps are taking the top off and the doors off. I take the top off all the time, but the doors, I just don't have the balls to it. The way people drive in Atlanta, they're always on their cell phone. I think if I get knocked in the side, I'm going to be amputated in a wheelchair or whatever. So I don't do that. I can't talk on the phone. It's always, the wind noise is so loud in it, it's hard to have a call inside the Jeep. So I always have to call people back. You can tow with other vehicles out there these days. So every time we do a fight night, I've got to rent a small U-Haul, but I can tow a U-Haul with most other cars out there. So it's just, it has never really been anything positive for me. The biggest thing is my mom can't get in and out of it. So whenever I hang out with my family and I go pick my mom up because she can't drive at night, we always have to take her car. So I've got to park my car at her house, drive her car because she can get in and out. And then just the wheelchair with her not being able to get in, which is kind of the icing on the cake for me. So it's just 100 different reasons, but it's just too big of a car for me. I don't need, I don't use the pickup that often.
Indeed.
So the gas is horrible.
Word. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a big difference, man. So yeah, if you're looking to buy a 2021 Jeep
Gladiator.
Jeep Gladiator, I know David just kind of talked you off of it a little bit, but it's all good.
I don't think anyone from here is going to buy it. I'm okay with that.
It's all good, man. Couple big fights coming up in the UFC before we go. This John Jones fight is huge, and the closer it gets, the more excited I'm getting. What is it, 10 days away?
I don't even know. When is that 10 days away? Is it that soon?
Is it March 4th? I believe I heard him in an interview saying it's 10 days away. And I'm like,
you might be right, because I think that is the week before the fight to the Battery, because I was going to try to assemble a team to maybe go to the Battery and flyer it up or set up a vendor booth. So, yeah, I think you are right.
I'm super excited about that fight. I do think that Gon does stand a chance. I don't think that we should just count him out, but I think we all know who John Jones is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Gon's been training. He's been fighting. He's been active. John Jones has not been. No one knows what John Jones is coming back. And I think we talked about a couple weeks ago. That's the most important thing is what John Jones is returning after years off. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of people are going to watch that fight. It's going to be a big ticket selling fight.
Now we have Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo as well. Are you familiar with that division?
I am. I just hate Henry Cejudo. I thought he was boring as hell years ago. He was a 2-division champion that I don't think anyone really cared about. You look at Conor McGregor, a 2-division champion. He was the biggest pay-per-view seller. Henry Cejudo, no one ever said, "Are we going to go watch Henry?" I thought it was boring. I thought it was tacky the way he left UFC. He did this fake retirement that I didn't think was ever going to last anyways. He's complained about the UFC, how underpaid he was, and here he is after doing all those complaints. He's coming back. Those things leave a bad taste in my mouth. So I hope he gets beat down bad.
Indeed. Okay. So that should be an interesting fight. We got, one of my favorite fighters. We got Cheeto Vera versus Corey Sandhagen in a couple of weeks. They're going to be headlining, I believe, a card in San Antonio on March 25th. Are you familiar with those two guys?
I am not. No.
Got you.
Why is he your favorite guy? What makes him?
I'm a fan of characters.
Uh-huh.
And you don't even have to be a character. Like if you're consistently you, I can respect. If you're just consistent, like after a while, I was like, okay, Colby Covington, he's consistent with this. I like him. He's shown me enough. He's consistent with just being this guy. Like if you're just consistent enough, or you're just real. Like I'm a Dustin Poirier guy. I like Dustin Poirier. He doesn't really switch up. That's him. Cheeto Vera, he a real authentic dude. He'll fight anybody, anytime, any place. He's an exciting fighter. He I want to say ended Dominic Cruz's career last time out with a violent head kick. Good fighter. He lost against Aldo a couple months ago, but he beat up Rob Font. I'm looking forward to watching Cheeto fight. Switching to boxing real quick. Are you still interested in boxing?
I am a little bit. It just depends on when the guys, who they are. I know there's a big fight this Saturday in Atlanta that was canceled. The opponent was injured. I'd have to look at who it was. There's a former Mayweather guy that's fought her a few times. He's lost like 3 in a row, though.
What, Bronner?
Yeah, Adrian Broner. So no one even knows. Adrian Broner is going to fight this Saturday night at that Gateway Center. So I looked at tickets. Tickets were selling well for it. I don't know who the hell was buying a $400 floor ticket, but it was selling well. And then
Adrian Bronner's fighting this weekend, huh?
It was canceled. His opponent got his jaw broken in training last week. So last week it actually got canceled for this Saturday.
So they're not fighting.
They're not fighting now. The whole event's canceled. It's off. It's postponed. So that was a boxing fight. And then the other guys, you got Jake Paul this weekend. And then the huge fight in April. I can't remember the two dudes' names. You're probably thinking of them. Right?
Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia.
That's going to be fun to
I'm
watch.
interested in that. I think I'm more interested in this Benavidez versus Plant fight. And it's weird. I have a weird relationship with boxing. Ever since I found out what MMA was, I just become a huge MMA fan. But I can't act like boxing wasn't like the one growing up. And so I'm always have my ear to the boxing streets. I know the big fights that are going on. I'm just always disappointed in the product that I'm given a lot of times when I do watch these fights. And so I figured I'd ask you about it because I know you came from the boxing world.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia fight. I think Gervonta Davis is going to beat him. I think Ryan Garcia is somewhat untested. It's going to be fun to watch. I hope Gervonta Davis goes to prison for a long time after that for other crime. I think he's got a couple. He's didn't he hit a pregnant lady somewhere or something? And then now he's got a court case in May. I read a little bit about it. I didn't read the whole thing. But he had a police escort around his Ferrari or whatever. He drove around his own police escort, hit other people, looked at them, and didn't even care and kind of drove off and fled the scene. So he's got, I think, Florida trial coming up and that trial coming up in May. The guy just seems like a complete and utter dirtbag from everything that I've seen out there about him.
Word.
My opinion.
Yeah, look, I get it. I can't really speak on it because I don't know. And a lot of things, you don't know. I always like to say innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
I'm just the outsider, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of stories out here and a lot of headlines. And if you don't listen to the whole show or the whole thing, you may miss something. So always make sure you tune in to NFC Now each and every Monday. Here and only here. I know today's a Wednesday, but NFC Now takes place every Monday. Look forward to NFC Jiu-Jitsu 12 this Saturday, February 25th. If you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets for the show. That doors are at 4, fights are at 5. And we'll see you next week. David, we wish you just a healthy, speedy recovery, man. See you. I'll see you on Friday, actually.
Where's your daughter so we can hit the end broadcast button?
Sarai, where are you? She's coming. She's on the way. She's running, actually. I hear her running. She's running. She's excited. Come on. Oh, she ran into the wall. Come on, princess. Let's go. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.